There it is. Live from HWR headquarters in Houston, Texas. It's the 316th edition of Houston Wrestling Radio. This is Abel. And I guess that's it. Chris had a concert that he had to go to, and Arnold has a bunch of family stuff that's going on. He was going to show up today. It was going to be a two-man show, but last minute he said that he couldn't make it. So here I am by myself, going to try to do a solo show. I've never actually done a solo show before. So it's going to be kind of a challenge, I think, maybe, I don't know. But I am logged in here to the old handy dandy smartphone. So I will, see, there's already Hector. Hector, welcome. Thank you for joining us, or me. I guess, well, now that you're here, it's on us. But anyway, yeah. I know Hector should have had some guests. And yes, hi, Porsche. I see it. Yes, yes. Well, it was last freaking minute, literally, like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes ago, Arnold said he couldn't make it. So, yeah, didn't really have time to get any guests or anything like that. That being said, I'm going to try to do this all on my own, all on my lonesome. That's fine. If you are watching us live, thank you so much. You could also log into your YouTube or Google account, and that way you could chat along with me and interact here. Ask me questions, talk shit, just say hi, whatever. I'll try to see it as best as I can and involve you as best as I can in the show. So now, if you're not watching live, that's okay. You can still interact with us. Facebook.com/Houston Wrestling Radio, or on Twitter at HWrestling Radio, and Instagram too. We sometimes do that. Hector says Arnold's membership card is chipping away. Hector, you're a vulture. Vulture, Hector. Vulture. But yeah, so I know that HWR has been something that's been around for a while. And I know that I have some listeners that have been around for a while. Some longer than others, some come and go, what have you. But I have said this in the past, sometimes to no avail and sometimes to big avail, which is, hey, there's going to be changes coming to HWR. I know that, like, we maybe said that a few times, last year, and not a whole lot changed. But there was one time when we're like, hey, there's going to be changes. And then, boom, we went from podcast to YouTube. So there's, still a lot of changes that, sometimes actually come true, sometimes don't. As far as what's going to go on now from here going forward, I don't have exact specific details because me, Chris, Arnold, we're still trying to work stuff out. Chris, like I said, he's at a concert tonight. However, he did explain to me when we did the dark match a few days ago where we reviewed Wrestle Kingdom, go and check it out. He said that, he's really getting tired of watching WWE. And there's 9 hours worth of product a week, and he said that here on the show before, and it's something that, like, is kind of a pain point for him. He doesn't really want to do stuff where we're only talking about WWE, and while I totally get it, I understand there's even too much product for me, a long time WWE supporter, watcher, and all that. Some of the stuff he shows me when it comes to New Japan, it's like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And then on Arnold's side of things, he's got a little baby boy coming along. His wife is 9 months pregnant and can pop at any time. That's partially some of the stuff that's going on today, why he wasn't here. All that being said, we had conversations back and forth. We're throwing around ideas, and then maybe we might start scaling back maybe the amount of episodes we do, maybe change the format itself where we're not just talking about WWE, but maybe we talk about other things that we all just try to watch collectively, and that's it. I don't know exactly how that's going to happen. I know WrestleMania season's coming up real quick. We're coming up on the Royal Rumble. But that was kind of something I was hoping I would get to talk to them about this week, but I didn't get a chance to. Just want to say there's going to be some changes coming. Now, that's, I guess, our programming note. Another thing, full disclosure, I very heavily rely on Chris's notes, and when Chris isn't here, I rely on Arnold to just kind of, and his memory to kind of carry us through. I'm the one with the really, really shitty memory. So this is going to be an interesting episode. Let's see. Hector says, let's change it to the point that every one of y'all bring your own news from different promotions. Yeah, that could be it too. The thing is, if one person's talking about news from one promotion, another person's talking about news from another promotion, it's just, we're not having a conversation. Just one person's reporting this, one person's reporting that. And, like when me and Chris talk about Lucha Underground, Arnold checks out because he don't watch Lucha Underground, so it doesn't really make for a good conversation. But I don't know, man. Maybe that's something we could do. Maybe solo shows where just somebody just talks about one product or one promotion and then somebody else talks about another. We'll figure it out, guys. HWR isn't going to go anywhere. It's still going strong. So, yeah, just stay tuned. Just tonight just happened to be a bad example of HWR going strong. So, the current format that we're in, we just talk about what happened throughout the week. And I think the biggest news point of the week is the whole stuff with All In, right? All In Wrestling. Well, excuse me, I guess it's All Elite Wrestling. I'm sorry, that's the name of the promotion. Hector had more members. Yeah, I hear you, man. So when it comes to All Elite Wrestling, I have to say that I wanted to rely a little bit more on my co-hosts for all of the news on that. I've seen headlines, but at work, I don't always get to tap on the headline to read the full article as to what the heck's going on. So I know enough bits and pieces just based off of the headlines. I guess my knee-jerk reaction right now is I'm really going to wait and see. I was excited for All In, just as everybody else was. And I watched All In, and I thought it was a good show. Maybe about somewhere between the 7 to 8 out of 10 range. I didn't think it was 11. But I thought that was okay because, hey, it was their first go. They don't need to completely go balls to the wall. They need to have a bit of a dry run first to see if they know how to get all the production shit down and, how to actually do the broadcast part and all that. So when it came to whether or not they could sustain this for a whole promotion, I don't know if they're jumping the gun a little bit after just one show. Double or Nothing I thought would have been okay. If they would have done Double or Nothing, they got 2 shows under their belt. If Double or Nothing was better than All In, and then said, hey, you know what? We're starting a new promotion. Okay, cool. I have to withhold my judgment. I don't want to get sucked up in this wave of hype because starting a promotion's hard, guys. Now, I get it. They have a backer with a lot of money. I get it. They got a lot of people with a lot of experience. They got a lot of people with a lot of drawing power. They do. But at the end of the day, this is pretty much the modern era's version of NWO splitting up between White and Red, and White decided, hey, we're going to start our own promotion. They're a faction. They're a group. They're not an entire promotion. Okay? I get it that they've signed a bunch of folk. They got Jericho in. They got Pac, whatever, Neville. Old Neville. Not Neville anymore. That dude. They got the king of the cruiserweights. They got him in, which is cool. And of course, we know that Cody and the Bucks, and they're going to be involved. I don't know if Kenny is actually involved. Maybe because I would assume that if All Elite Wrestling is doing a thing, that includes Kenny. But the memes and the teasing that I see going on is people are still holding out hope, thinking Kenny's going to show up in the Royal Rumble, and that doesn't really make any sense to me. Other than WWE fanboys just want to see Kenny Omega, and that's it. But maybe there's a little bit more to it because Kenny hasn't officially announced that he's part of All In or All Elite. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's them that he's in there with them. So even if I assume Kenny, the Bucks, Cody, let's just throw Brandy's, and then Jericho and Pac. That's 7 dudes. 7 dudes a promotion does not make. Now I know not Randy. Porsche. She sent me a list here where she looked it up to see if there's a whole roster list so far of people in All In. And this is where if I had 2 other co-hosts, the other co-hosts could talk and I could look at stuff and on the fly. But let's see what we got on here. All right, so yeah, Hangman Page, that's another one. Oh geez, I gotta click on each one to go through here. Britt Baker, oh yeah, okay, women's wrestler, great. I wish this was in list form. That way I'm not going through everything. Joey Janela, Penelope Ford. All right. SoCal. So all 3 of those guys, which that's good. That's a good addition too. Brandy, already counted Brandy. Pac, already counted Pac. Strong Hearts. Who the fuck are the Strong Hearts? Okay, well, they're in it. Great. I guess the Bucks have jobbers that they could go over on. And then Jericho. Okay, Jericho. Right. Wow, that would be an impressive list for new people coming into an already established promotion, with the exception of the Heartbreakers, Young Hearts, Young Buck Jobbers, whatever they were called, Heartbreakers, whatever. I don't give a fuck about those guys. Joey Janela, Penelope Ford, whoop-de-doo. Like, I'm not getting too excited over them. Yeah, sure, Joey Janela's made a lot of noise over on the East Coast and the Indies, but to me, I don't know what a Joey Janela is quite yet. I've seen maybe 2 matches of his. I've heard his name tossed around a couple of years. Robert, what's up, Robert? Welcome to the show. Ascension. ¿Qué pasó, Ascension? Nice of you to join me. Let me catch up here on what's going on here. Billy Gunn is on the first backstage poster. The one Billy Gunn? That doesn't excite me. Billy Gunn was not good for fucking TNA when they were doing the Voodoo Kid Mafia back then. And he's aged another 5 years after that. No, that's not going to impress me. Abel playing with himself. Fuck you, Robert. Yes, I am playing with myself. In fact, I'm not even wearing any pants, but I'm sitting down, so you don't have to know. They're doing equal pay and equal pay for men and equal pay for women. All wrestlers that get injured in AEW will be covered health-wise. I did hear the whole thing about equal pay. All right, so we went through the roster. I'm kind of okay on the roster, kind of not. But the equal pay thing is kind of cool. If Joey Janela is getting paid the same thing as Chris Jericho, that's really cool for Joey Janela. Hopefully that doesn't mean that, like, hey, Jericho could earn this and Joey Janela should be earning this. So we just brought Jericho all the way down to Joey Janela's level. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they met somewhere in the middle where, it's good for everybody. Hopefully they did not put Jericho up here, Joey Janela here, and they said, okay, well, we're paying Joey Janela the same we're paying Jericho millions and millions of dollars. That needs to be a median, because, you can't pay everybody the exact same thing for a long time and think you're going to be sustainable. And that goes for pretty much anything. If you got somebody that's been around the block, has a lot of good experience, knows what the heck they're doing, I would think that they want to get compensated a little bit better. Now, is that going to attract some of people that are currently under contract with WWE or New Japan or wherever? It really depends what that number is. If everybody's getting paid the same low dollar amount, why would why would Seth Rollins ever want to give up his WWE contract whenever it expires and go to All Elite? You know what I'm saying? Why would Roman Reigns? Why would Dean Ambrose? Why would Dolph Ziggler? Why would anybody? You know, that's already on that higher pay grade, that higher pay level. I understand with Jericho, because Jericho's spreading his seed. He's in the twilight of his career. He's doing a bunch of stuff where he's trying to, you know, ensure that his legacy and the legacy of wrestling passes on. And to him, this seems more like a passion project. But for other guys that aren't like him, I don't know. I guess it really just depends on what that number is. And then, fuck, man, guys like Joey Janela, guys like, let's even bring it to ROW standards, you know, Abel Andrew Jackson or Mysterious Q. They get signed on to All Elite. That's a great payday for them. I'm sure they're happy about it, that they're getting a good payday. But do people on that level where they're just kind of like pretty much local, regional, indie level deserve the same kind of pay Jericho's getting? And I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. Mid-card peeps get paid the same. All right. Entry-level peeps get paid the same. Marquee peeps get paid the same. The security guard let them in afterward. Wait, what are you talking about? So you're saying that all the mid-card, everybody, they get paid the same, or are there 3 different tiers? A marquee, a mid, and then the lower, and it's like 1, 2, 3 tiers. If it's 3 tiers, then okay, cool. If that's what it means. Porsche, you need to correct me on that one. All right. So if Ziggler, Ryder, and Ty jump ship, then it'll be interesting. Oh, she said yes. That's what I mean. Oh, okay. So it's 3 different tiers. All right. Well, then that's cool. Then forget all that bullshit I just the last like 5 minutes. See, this is what happens when I'm not prepared. Apparently, they were given a hard time even when they flipped their shirts inside out. Who flipped what shirts inside out? Oh, are we talking about the people that actually showed up to SmackDown wearing the AEW shirts? Yeah, that's all right. Let's segue to that. WWE pretty much made an ass of themselves by doing that. I don't see why WWE would do that. Like, if I showed up to SmackDown wearing a New Japan shirt, I wouldn't get kicked out of the building. And if anything, New Japan is more competition to WWE than All Elite Wrestling is right now. If I were WWE, I wouldn't care about All Elite Wrestling. If I were WWE, I would still consider ROH or even TNA, hell, maybe even NWA, a bigger threat than All Elite Wrestling. The reason why is because they've only had 1 fucking show. They haven't even had a second show. They're making a lot of hype, but that's it. They haven't proven themselves. It's like the Patriots getting upset about fucking the Browns because they have a first-round pick. You know, the Browns, like, they don't even know who their fucking pick yet. You know, and it's just fucking asinine. WWE, you made the wrong fucking call because all it did is make you look bad. It didn't make, All Elite any diminished. It just make you look like an asshole. So that was a totally wrong fucking call to make, guys. Like, and those shirts weren't even offensive or anything. You know, I understand. My friend Aaron, he had his signs taken, at a Raw because he had stuff on there. It was like talking shit about Cena, talking shit about Mysterio years ago, right? I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was snarky ass things, right? So yeah, snarky ass, disrespectful stuff, whatever. Okay, confiscate that. But a shirt that just says a different promotion's name, that's fucking dumb. I could walk into SmackDown or Raw with the Lucha Underground shirt. Lucha Underground right now is a bigger threat to WWE than fucking All Elite Wrestling. All Elite Wrestling hasn't done squat. They've had 1 fucking show. Yeah, sure, they sold out 10,000 seats. But that was all because of the hype and all off of 1 fucking show. And man, I mean, WWE, you're quaking in your boots for something you don't even know what it is yet. And it's just fucking stupid. All right. New Japan might end up joining AEW after their deal with ROH is over in April. Okay, Hector. I did also see that headline too. That's interesting to me. I don't know how valid those rumors are. Because, man, I don't know. Like, why would New Japan, who is, let's face it, the second biggest wrestling company in the world, they're the only people behind WWE. When people talk about WWE as the big leagues and everything else in the indies, they're fucking wrong. Because the big leagues are WWE and New Japan. Everything else after that is indies, and you might be able to make an exception for AAA and for ROH and maybe TNA. Okay, maybe those three other promotions you might be able to make an argument for. But New Japan, WWE, they're almost on the same fucking level. You know, one's McDonald's, one's Burger King. If you look at the fucking shit on paper, McDonald's is way bigger than Burger King, but Burger King is definitely second. You know? So why would New Japan basically hook up with a spin-off offshoot of themselves that said they were going to do their own thing, but they're going to hook up with them even though, like, it doesn't really make sense. Now, crazier things have happened in wrestling. I mean, shit, look at the deal that they have currently with ROH. New Japan and ROH, they're not really competitors, but ROH is, I would say, probably the second, if not the third big dog in the American market, but New Japan's helping them out with the talent exchange there. So why not with All Elite? But why with All Elite? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what the benefit is for New Japan. I guess maybe so they can keep a working relationship with those people that were their top draws in their promotion. Again, going back to NWO, WCW idea that I had in my head, it's as if NWO White made their own promotion, but WCW was like, hey, we would still like Hogan to show up at Bash at the Beach. So we're going to have a working relationship, even though you're your own thing, because damn it, we want to make money too, I guess. I don't know. It's a little confusing. If it happens, cool, I suppose. But that's a really strange bedfellow situation there. New Japan might not join AEW just to not lose Kenny Omega. Yeah, I guess. Same thing. I guess in this case, Hogan would be Kenny. I'm in the next room. Yes, I know. Push in the next room. Okay, if AEW gets TBS or TNT, then WWE is correct on worrying. Yes, you're right. If they do, that shit still hasn't happened yet. I think they're pulling the trigger way too fast on them being paranoid for people confiscating fucking shirts or turning people away from their own show because they're wearing a shirt. That's not going to happen in the NFL. I'm still going to be able to walk into a Texans game wearing an XFL jersey. You know, I'm still going to be able to do that next season. Arena Football League. If you're wearing an Arena Football League jersey, you could still walk into NRG Stadium wearing that. You know, the NFL's not concerned with it. Is it a threat? Is it what the thing of what it could be? Is that real? Yes, it is. I know I've probably been very negative in all the stuff I've said so far, but again, I don't want to get too caught up in the hype, but this could be the most exciting thing that has happened in a long time in the world of wrestling. This could be the next big threat to WWE. It could be the next thing to challenge for number 2. Right now, the waters are a little bit murky. What is number 2? Is ROH still number 2? Is TNA number 2? I mean, TNA lost their deal on Pop. They're on some of their channel. I can't even remember what the name of the channel is, but there's a significantly lot less people that have that channel than Pop. And before Pop, it was on Spike. You know, so TNA was number 2 for a long time. But right now, is TNA number 2? Is ROH number 2? I don't fucking know. But can All Elite definitely be number 2 by a mile? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. It really depends on the exclusivity of what you see. Because if that's the only place I can see Kenny Omega, that's the only place I can see Cody Rhodes, that's the only place that I can see the Young Bucks, then guess what? They're going to get these eyeballs. But if I can still see the Bucks in ROH, I can still see the Bucks in New Japan, I can still see the Bucks at any other fucking indie promotion that they happen to go to, then I hate to say it, the exclusivity, I can't even say it. Them being exclusive matters. I was kind of not the biggest fan of it when Booker T did that here in Houston with his indie promotion with ROW, because, you know, a lot of people would wrestle for Texas All-Star Wrestling. A lot of people would also wrestle for NWA Houston or Lone Star Championship Wrestling at the time. And there was a free little talent exchange, and hey, you could go watch, you know, Ruthless Ryan Davidson at Texas All-Star Wrestling, and he's a completely separate storyline in NWA Houston, and he's a completely separate storyline in Booker T's ROW. But then Booker was like, no, we got a TV deal on Soul of the South, which only like half people on basic cable even got. So we're going to make our people exclusive. So then all these other indie promotions, they couldn't have, you know, half of these guys that they were relying on. And it kind of sucked for all the indie promotions, and it kind of sucked for Booker because it got a little bit of bad feelings in the local wrestling community. And it wasn't like, oh, well, I'm going to go to ROW to watch Ruthless Ryan. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I won't get to see Ruthless Ryan on my side of town, and I'm not driving all the way to Texas City. But that's kind of the local area. Once you blow it up a little bit bigger, I'm not driving anywhere to see Kenny Omega because he's never fucking here. I'm going to my telly to see Kenny Omega. And if that channel is a channel that I get, or if it's something that I could go online and watch, I don't care if it's New Japan, All Elite, ROH, or fucking Evolve, or Revolution Pro, or whatever, Dragon Gate, I don't give a fuck. If I get a chance to see him, I get a chance to see him, and I'm going to watch it. So Punk would not do equal pay. Oh God, why are we talking about CM Punk? Hell no, CM Punk ain't gonna show for shit. All right, the Pursuit channel. Thank you. The website is whack. Okay, so Ascension is basically asking if I can see CM Punk joining. I mean, as somebody who is a hardcore Bret Hart fan, I sat back and watched my favorite wrestler of all time turn into a bitter old curmudgeon who didn't want to have nothing to do with nothing with the wrestling business, who I would be elated if he had came back, at that time. And he never did. And he just got more bitter, more curmudgeonly, older. Let's face it, everybody's getting older. And I think Punk is following that same trajectory. Even now, even right now, I don't think Punk is the same Punk he was when he first left WWE. Even now, much less next year, 3 years, 5, 10 years from now, I don't think I want to see CM Punk. Partially because I don't want to remember Bret Hart for his match that he had at WrestleMania 26, which was fucking ugly. And I don't want to remember CM Punk trying to roll around in a wrestling ring with the fucking Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi and all that and getting circles ran around him because he's been out of the business for damn near a decade and is rusty as fuck and has been trying to train for MMA and looks like a fucking shadow of himself. I don't want to see it. Could he be convinced by Cody and Kenny and the Bucks and all these people that are kind of thumbing their nose at WWE and thumbing their nose at the rest of the wrestling world, maybe I could kind of see him getting convinced, because I would say that this is in the same spirit of what Punk was fighting for. Punk was fighting for creative control. Punk was fighting for wrestling to be what it was, where it was fun and it was creative on the behalf of the wrestlers, and where if you are the best in the world, god damn it, you're the best in the world, and they're going to spotlight you. That was what CM Punk was all about. And that's kind of what Kenny and Cody and this whole fucking endeavor is all about. They think they're the best in the world. They think they could do it better than you, being WWE, and god damn it, they're going to do it. And that seems like it's in the same spirit. So would it be exciting from that perspective? Yes. I don't know if I could see Punk going anymore, man. I don't know if I want to see Punk trying and failing. I don't know if I want to see Punk do the thing that Flair did, where he just kind of goes on forever, and just looking worse and worse and worse. I don't think I want to see him do the same thing Taker did, where he goes on forever, more than he should have, and he looks worse and worse and worse. Same with Shane McMahon. Like, I don't want that to be the last taste in my mouth of CM Punk. You know, like the last taste in my mouth right now is bitter enough as it is, with him walking out, him having the staph infection, doing the tell-all, and then just being fucking pissy as fuck. Because let's face it, that's what he is now. He is pissy as fuck. And he's just a curmudgeon, man. And I don't want that. You know? I don't know. I bet you the live chat's blowing up and telling me why I'm wrong. Let me see if that's the truth. Funny side note, did you see Scroll's comment on the picture between Paige and Pac? No, I did not. We won't see Punk again for 10 years when he finally accepts the WWE Hall of Fame. I would like to see him as an announcer. Robert, boom, you hit the nail right on the head. I definitely do want to see him as an announcer. He would fit great in the announcer role. Not in the ring. If he went to All Elite, and if he was one of their color commentators, then I'd be happy. Yeah, there you go. Ascension says he's still young. Yeah, he's still young, but he's still on that same path that Bret Hart was in. After he left, WWE, after he left WCW, yeah, sure, it was because of the kick to the head, and it was a really bad thing. 5 years later, he maybe could have, but then he had the stroke and all that. And sure, Punk hasn't had any problems like that with any strokes or anything, but this MMA stuff hasn't been easy on him, And you age fast in this business, man. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I don't think he's going to be the same. But I don't know. I digress from that. I think I would be more excited to see Shamrock. What? Shamrock in AEW than seeing Punk come back. What? Why Shamrock? I hope you're just throwing out hyperbole just for a description as to describe how you feel about Punk. But yeah, Hector. All right. So okay, going back to what it could be. I keep building up to this where it's like, do I want to be hyped? Yeah, I want to. I want them to succeed. I want there to be a strong number 2. The same way how TNA back in 2005-06 was a strong contender for number 2. WWE was like up here running at like a 9 or a 10 as far as like how big they are. Of course, not how we like the product at the time. But WWE was on, or TNA was on the come up. TNA was on the come up, and it was always nipping at their heels. They never turned that corner where they could totally overtake or be considered at least on the same level as WWE, but there was always that potential there. When they were doing all the Ultimate X stuff, and all the stuff with the X Division, the stuff that made Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles popular, when they were doing all that shit, man, wrestling was fun. Not because WWE was good at the time, because WWE wasn't all that great. but because TNA was good at the time. But then TNA had their little Hogan invasion. That was the beginning of the end for TNA. When Hogan and Bischoff and Bubba the Love Sponge and all those other motherfuckers took over, it was downhill from there. Hopefully, All Elite can get to that point. Hopefully, All Elite doesn't stay at the same level as ROH, where they become basically a glorified farm system that's not exactly connected to any other major company. Like, if you want to make your name, even back in the TNA glory days, mid-2000s, even then, if you want to make your name, you get signed to ROH, you get good enough at ROH so you can get signed to TNA or WWE or New Japan. You know? Now, I don't want All Elite to be, hey, if you want to get to WWE, you have to go to All Elite. If you want to get to New Japan, you got to go through All Elite. And All Elite's always a second fiddle, or they replace ROH. I don't want that to happen. I want them to be where TNA almost was. TNA didn't grab that brass ring. They were kind of had their fingers on the brass ring and couldn't like pull it down. I want them to be able to grab that brass ring and actually give WWE some fucking competition. Can it? Porsche get in. Porsche get in there. Why? As long as Vince Russo stays. What? Oh, yes. Takeover Blackpool. Okay. NXT UK getting ready for a takeover. You know, you say that's steering me back on track, but I wasn't planning about talking about NXT UK at all. If anything, I was going to mention that they are another example of why Chris is so fucking burnt out on WWE, because there's too much goddamn product. Too much goddamn product. You're trying to tell me that we're going to have to not only cover all of Raws, all of SmackDowns, all of their 17 pay-per-views in the year, or however much they are, and NXT and their takeovers, but now we also have to cover UK and their takeovers as well? Fuck! Now, I'm not saying that that product is going to be bad. Tony Storm's great. Rhea Ripley is great. Pete Dunne is great. Joe Coffey, I've just seen him once. He was an interesting fella. But God damn, there's just too much. When we started Houston Wrestling Radio, all that was relevant was what happened on Raw, not even SmackDown, because SmackDown was a Raw replay show. What happened on Raw and what happened in TNA on Impact that week. That was all that was relevant. And we thought, oh, getting together once a week to talk about 2 hours or 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of TNA. Boom, that's it. We're good. But now it's 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, an hour of NXT, an hour of Lucha Underground sometimes, all the pay-per-views in between, because like, dude, it's too much. It's too much. Take over Blackpool. We'll just toot his own horn. Did I toot my own horn? What did I toot my own horn about? I love strawberries, but I'm not going to eat them every day. I'll get sick of it and not live anymore. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Porsche, that's exactly right. That's exactly how Chris is feeling. It's way too much to go through. Way too much to cover. So that's part of the reason why we need to fucking change our format. Like I said, when we started this, it was just Raw and TNA, and that's it. That's all that was fucking relevant. Now, everything is relevant. There's so much more wrestling now, which is kind of good if you're a wrestling fan. You have your pick of the litter. But it's bad if you're a wrestling podcaster trying to be all encompassing, because there's just way too much shit to cover. Yeah. Robert says, I'm at the point where I just watch Raw and SmackDown highlights on YouTube and seriously watch the good stuff. There you go. Now, is NXT UK going to be considered the good stuff? I don't know. Maybe. But I'm not making it appointment viewing. I don't know if you guys remember, the whole reason why we didn't cover NXT for a while was because we thought it was irrelevant and we didn't need to, until a lot of people that were like our listeners and stuff were like, oh my God, you got to watch Cesaro versus Tyson Kidd. Oh my God, you got to see what Sami Zayn did. Oh, this and this and that. You need to watch this show. You need to watch this show. And we were finally like, okay, fuck it. Who's this Bailey and who's this Sasha chick that we keep hearing about? Tuned in. Fuck, it was really good. maybe NXT UK is going to be the same way for us, where we don't cover it until we actually, get kicked in the ass and say, hey, you need to watch this shit. But again, what are we going to sacrifice to not watch so that we can cover it? I don't know. Same here, Robert. And Hector says, what about from now on, just cover Raw and SmackDown and cover NXT only when takeovers come around? That is a thought. But now it's 2 fucking takeovers that we have to worry about, the domestic and the foreign. Shit. So even if we do that, they're still covering more than what we need to. All right. Okay. So All Elite, hopefully it's good. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm also reserving my judgment. I want to hear more. I want to see if they're actually going to have a roster filled out. I want to see if Pentagon and Phoenix are going to be exclusive. I want to see if Nick Aldis is going to be there and exclusive. Because again, if I could see Nick Aldis at local NWA, if I could see Nick Aldis on, somewhere else, where if NWA beefs up their online streaming content, which they have, if they beef it up, okay, fine. It's not as important to watch it All In. If Pentagon Jr. keeps coming around to all these fucking lucha shows that we have here in Houston, it's not as big of a deal if he's traveling all over, But if you start getting all of these guys, Cage, Johnny Mundo, fucking Dragon Azteca. Well, maybe not Dragon Azteca. Drago. You start getting like badass people from Lucha Underground, badass people from TNA, Killer Cross. Sorry. If you get like some of these guys and you lock them down to exclusive fucking contracts, the MAC, then okay, maybe you have a shot. But if I could see you 1 week on Lucha Underground, 1 week on TNA, 1 week on All Elite, no, it ain't gonna work. They're just gonna be at the same level, if not lower than TNA and ROH. They'll probably be somewhere around the same level as fucking Dragon Gate or Chikara. Well, Chikara's comedy, but you understand what I mean. Okay, I was watching Impact as an alternative, but now it's in the wilderness station that can't be seen. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot to say about this week's WWE programming, okay? But full disclosure, I have not watched 2 weeks worth of WWE programming. I watched yesterday's yesterday's SmackDown and Monday's Raw, but after taking a 2-week break, because the week of Christmas we did our year-end review episode. The week of New Year's, we didn't do a show at all, and then we did a dark match covering Wrestle Kingdom. And I took that time to just take a break. So some things happened that I was scratching my head like, wait, what? Why is our truth involved in main event scene with Daniel Bryan? What? I was very confused. Wait, all of a sudden Lashley's attacking Rollins and not Elias? Wait, what happened? Why is he attacking Rollins? So I was a little bit lost on a few things. That being said, both of those I'm happy about. Lashley needs to be taken a little bit more seriously. Lashley should be in the mix with guys that are higher up on the card, a little bit more well respected. Not saying Elias isn't, but if you're battling Elias, and then you move on to battling Rollins, that's a step up. No offense to Elias. Elias just isn't on the same level as Rollins is yet. Okay. Now, is he still bending over and showing off his glutes? I don't know. That's kind of dumb, but he still has, what's his name running around him? Leo. So I don't know. Serious him up. Just like how he was when he was a grand champion in TNA. Serious Lashley up. And if you give it enough build, then maybe the matches that we saw between Lashley and Lesnar back in the aughts, maybe that could be redone now in the 2010s, and it be fucking serious. Maybe Lashley could be the next big fucking dude to try to actually take out Lesnar. But it's going to take a lot of fucking work to get that booking to where it needs to be because you bumbled up his booking for so fucking long. But maybe now you're starting to right the ship here. Again, let's go to the other example where I said, okay, I don't know why he's battling the top guy, but he is, and I'm happy about it. R-Truth. Man, when when Ron Killings cut that promo in TNA, when he basically said, look, I'm not Kate Quick, I'm R-Truth, and won the NWA TNA title and like was taken seriously for a hot minute. R-Truth was the truth. Ron Killings was the fucking truth. He was badass on the mic. And yeah, sure, I enjoy his comedy shtick where he kind of acts dopey and then he does dance breaks and he does this funny stuff. I enjoy it. I do, don't get me wrong. But, man, how badass would it have been if that Ron Killings had stayed at that level and exceeded that level and brought that over to WWE? And that's what I've always wanted for him. I've always wanted because I always thought he was an amazing athlete. I love the stuff that he does in the ring. It's just WWE tends to not like the flippy dippy stuff, especially back then. And even now, to a certain extent, depending on which brand you're looking at, it's still the land of the giants. And R-Truth sometimes gets treated like a cruiserweight, but also a comedy act and also an old timer. So he's kind of got all those working against him, but I'm still kind of holding out hope for him. And that man doesn't age. Black don't crack. Am I right, Porsche? Porsche 72. Let's see. What have I missed here in the live chat? I was watching Impact. Okay, no. Okay. Hector says, I'm currently watching SmackDown, New Japan, highlights of Raw, NXT, NXT UK, Major League Wrestling. Oh my God, I forgot about MLW. Yeah, MLW. MLW is another example of where I don't want All Elite Wrestling to be. And MLW is a fucking afterthought. It's an indie promotion. And it's nowhere near the level of ROH and even TNA at this point. Now, maybe in like 3 months' time, since TNA has gone off into the wilderness, maybe MLW could fill TNA's spot as being number 3. But it's still not anything to fucking make appointment viewing, you know, and that's not what I want for All Elite. Hell, that's not what I want for any fucking number 2. In order for you to get to number 2, which you have to do first before you even challenge WWE, you have to make yourself to where you're appointment viewing, where I'm choosing to watch your product over any of the other indies. It's that simple. All right. Sorry. Worst promo 2019, Braun Strowman. Yeah, that was really bad. I guess Nia weighs 300 ounces. What? She does? Ounces? Did she say ounces? Not pounds? Wait. Okay. The fact that R-Truth attacked Brian on Tuesday was awesome. Thank you. I'm glad somebody agrees. All right. So, okay. Since Hector brought it up, we're going to talk a little bit about Strowman. Well, here, what's Porsche saying about WoW? WoW superstars with the disciplinarian starts soon, and I can't wait. Yeah. But again, for my purposes of the podcast, another fucking hour. I'm assuming their show, Women of Wrestling, is 1 hour, but another fucking hour of wrestling. Holy shit! And then what if Netflix comes out with another season of Glow? Holy shit, that's more to cover. But I would definitely watch the shit out of WoW and watch the shit out of Glow. But I don't know if I would do it in a timely manner enough to where I could actually talk about it with relevance on HWR. Anyway, MLW had Conan getting shanked by Low Key. It was in MLW that happened. I saw a highlight or a headline saying that, you know, Conan was shanked by Low Key, and I was like, that's got to be kayfabe news. And if it's not kayfabe news, that's fucking stupid. But I guess it was MLW. Okay, whatever. All right, Strowman. I appreciate the idea of WWE doing different things with their production. I appreciate WWE focusing one camera, eyeball to eyeball on one guy, and then have a split screen, camera to camera, eyeball to eyeball with another guy, and have them having dueling promos. It's something that they don't always do, and I kind of like it. But the promo itself, especially on Strowman's side, was god awful. Oh man, his timing was all off. He looked like he didn't know what to say. It looked like at some point he was just gonna go, nuh-uh. And that's it. Like, it was like, hey, I want to call you out, but I don't know what to say to actually call you out because you don't get hurt by words. And the words that you probably would get hurt by, I can't say because the show is PG. Like, I was expecting him at some point to say, you fucking bitch, get your lily ass over here, or like something like that. And he never even got up to that. He just said, you're a coward, I think. I don't even remember the words, but it was like really, it was weak sauce, bro. And Chris brought up a good point. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, or maybe on the dark match or something. I don't know. He brought up a good point. Strowman's had a shot. He was in the meat soup match. He had 2 shots against Lesnar already, one-on-one, I believe. Maybe it's not Strowman that will be the one to dethrone Lesnar. Now, I'm just echoing what Chris thinks here, because Chris is off of the Strowman bandwagon. I have 1 foot on and 1 foot off of the Strowman bandwagon right now. If he were to beat Lesnar, I'll be like, oh yeah, I never got off that bandwagon. I was on there the whole time. But if he loses again, I'll be like, oh yeah, Chris, I know what you mean. Yeah, and I'm off the bandwagon. So my bandwagonness for Strowman heavily depends on the outcome of what happens between him and Lesnar in the coming weeks. So yeah, not as bad as the tampon spot. The tampon spot. Okay. That was interesting. I hope that was a gimmick tampon and not a real bloody tampon. This is wrestling. If you listen, I know most of our viewers are here in Houston. If you listen to Sports Radio 790 in the mornings, I do sometimes on my way to work. Josh Innes, who's the morning host, was actually talking about this spot, and he is a bit of a closeted but not closeted wrestling fan. And he was talking about this. He's like, well, wrestling's fake, so I don't know why people are showing outrage for something that is scripted and not real. And while that kind of shows that Josh Innes himself isn't quite of a hardcore wrestling fan as maybe some of the rest of us, because when you kind of throw around the F word and the fake word, and you're like, oh well, it's scripted or whatever, you sometimes lose sight that like it's not supposed to be quite like that, and that there's more intricacies to it. But while he did say that, I had to tend to agree that it was probably gimmicked and it probably wasn't real, and the wrestlers involved probably signed off on it. They were probably okay. But kind of like with the whole shanking thing, once you open up a certain can of worms in wrestling, you can't put those worms back in the can. And that becomes problematic when it comes to lawyers and like lawsuits, and when it comes to like really bad violence, like shanking people, stabbing, shooting, killing people. Like, you can't kayfabe that. So if you kill somebody, they need to be dead, and they can't ever come out of hiding for the rest of their lives, And then when it comes to super, super gross stuff, because as we all see with the DDT, I remember the DDT was the most devastating finisher of all time. And if a DDT was hit, oh my God, get that man on a stretcher. Now you do a DDT as an opening fucking maneuver just to counter out of an armbar or a hammerlock or something, right? Like a DDT is nothing. So you start doing really stupid, crazy, fucking gross shit, then how much crazy are you going to be? How much further can you take it? you know, I don't know. I don't know, man. That's you're straddling the line. That being said, kudos to what was her name? Priscilla Kelly, I want to say her name was. Kudos to her. And kudos to the girl taking it. If a person is outraged about a tampon and not an orange race and not orange racist wrestlers, then I don't want to know them. Thank you for the transition there, Porsche. Orange racist wrestlers. I guess we're talking about Hulk Hogan. So Hulk Hogan was trotted out this past week on Raw to do the commemorative segment for Mean Gene Okerlund. Now, if this was before Hogan's sex tape came out, before the whole, oh, hey, guess what? Hogan is kind of, you know, not PG, before all that came out, then it would have totally made 1,000% sense that the person that would be honoring Mean Gene Okerlund would be Hulk Hogan. That just makes sense to me. Definitely. I don't know who else you would have do that. If we were putting Mean Gene into the Hall of Fame again, it would make sense. Hogan, you know. But this is after the sex tape, after the all the stuff came out about Hogan, and a lot of people are still very hurt by the fact that Hogan is still trotted out. And it seemed as though he hasn't really, WWE has never really admonished Hogan himself. Or if they have, it's been kind of like haphazard, and it's like, oh, this is Hogan, he's our cash cow. Oh, we're going to ignore who he is, but it's Hogan, so we can't ignore who he is forever. And hey, we're going to Saudi Arabia. Hey, let's throw out Hogan because they don't care that Hogan, you know, is racist against black folk. So it's like, man, so there's a lot more underlying tones than just Hogan's coming out to commemorate Mean Gene, right? There's way more to it than just that. There's this whole thing of, hey, we want to make people forget about Hogan's transgressions, and we want to put Hogan in as the most positive light as possible. So we're going to use the death of somebody that was beloved to trot out Hogan so that Hogan can't get booed, so that Hogan could be on TV and seen in a positive light doing the positive thing, so that we could fucking shine him up again and have him be our face of the company 20 years removed. It just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Now, again, going back to Porsche bringing it up, Porsche is definitely not watching WWE anymore. I remember Chris was sitting next to me, and we were talking about the outrage of them actually going to Saudi Arabia, them pulling it out and going against what everybody was saying, which is they should pull out, and they went. And Chris was like, hey, if you're going to protest, you may as well fucking go all the way and protest. Don't just say I'm not going to watch Crown Jewel and then turn around and watch Evolution after. Porsche took that shit to heart, and she hasn't watched anything. Even when I'm watching stuff, she goes, you know, out of the room and she doesn't watch it. And some of that is exacerbated by the fact that not only did the Saudi Arabia thing still happen, but the Hogan thing still is a thing and still going on. And damn. And I don't know exactly where I stand on this subject. Because on the one hand, you know, I'm a person of color. I live with another person of color, and I totally get that I don't get it, especially when it comes to the N-word. I get it that I don't get it, right? But then I see, you know, other things happen where I look at who I am, and I'm such a wildly different person than what I was 10 years ago. A wildly different person than what I was even, you know, maybe 8, 9, 5 years ago. You know, people do change, people do grow. So at what point do we say, did this person actually really for realsies change? Has Hogan changed? I don't know. I don't know him personally. I have no idea. Has he apologized? Has he felt remorse? Maybe, I don't know. I can't get that from a tweet or from a public service announcement or a press conference or something like that. I can't get that. I don't know who he is. Same with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart said a bunch of, stuff that, offended the LGBT community, and that's not cool. But did Kevin Hart learn? Maybe. I don't know. Who am I to judge whether or not he's learned? So how long do I hold that grudge? I don't know. I don't know the answers to that question. All I do know is that it still hurts some folk and it cuts deep. So I don't know if it was the best taste to actually have Hogan out there to do that. I don't know. But man, that was quite the tangent. I really hope they aren't any more Saudi shows. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Porsche. Supposedly it was a working tampon. Really, Robert? It was a working tampon? So you're telling me she got out her little period app. She counted the days and said, you know what? The date of that show, I should be full on gushers bleeding. And let's use it in the spot. So I'm gonna stick a tampon up there, and it should be the right day when that particular show is going on, and I'm gonna take it out bloody and used, and I'm gonna stick it in your face. Hey, your opponent, are you okay with that? Did that really happen? I don't know, man. I think you're getting kayfabed. I think you might be getting kayfabed. I'm not sure. Hey?
Not real.
It's not real?
Definitely not real.
Definitely not real?
The part that goes farthest in, completely white and clean.
Oh, the blood pattern was inverted, basically?
It was in the middle.
The blood was in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. Thank you.
Makes sense.
Thank you for your expertise, wifey. Randy had to go stick her head in here and explain to me why she believes that it is a work because of the blood pattern on the tampon. Okay, cool. Soaked in Kool-Aid and then tucked in her thighs. Tampons are dangerous. Tampons are dangerous. Oh, I'm sorry. You said it was worked. Right. You're right. When you said it worked, I read shoot it, and yeah. This is why I need more than one co-host. That way when I read your stuff, I don't misinterpret it. We probably won't ever see him until NWO gets in the Hall of Fame. I guess we're talking about Hogan. You know that they're going to use him for Saudi shows. Hopefully there won't be any Saudi shows. The Hogan thing reminded me of when Booker T called him the N-word. As the lady in the room, it's a work. Yes, thank you, Porsche. All right, so the last thing that I really want to hit on is... No, there's two things. I'm sorry, but this will be my second to last thing. D-Bry. I really enjoyed D-Bry's promo at the beginning of Raw. I think he's very much embracing this heel persona. I think that even though he himself in his own personal life may be somebody who believes in saving the planet, believes in recycling, believes in cutting emissions, and believes in veganism and all that, I think he may be a reasonable person about it. As somebody who now currently works with 3 vegans and a vegetarian, and they're all kind of cool about it, nobody is quite as militant as the cartoony portrayal that D-Bry is doing right now. That being said, I enjoy the cartoony portrayal that he is doing right now because this is wrestling and you got to be over the top. And if you're going to be a heel about it, it's easy to be a heel that way. Now, are there going to be maybe some activists and vegan organizations and organizations that deal with, saving the planet and, global warming and shit like that, that'll probably be offended? Yeah, maybe. And would I rather see a babyface extol the virtues of these types of values? Then yeah, that would be cool. But I think that'd be too much to ask of WWE. WWE has always been a little tone deaf when it comes to that type of thing. Should we recycle? Yes. Should we try to lower our carbon footprint? Yes. Should we maybe consider eating less processed foods and less meat? Yes. I totally agree with all of those things. But it's fun seeing Daniel Bryan fucking flip out about it. And as somebody who was kind of skeptical about Daniel Bryan's heel turn, being somebody who is in the Superdome at WrestleMania 30, chatting yes with all the other people at the end of the show, I didn't know if I could ever buy Daniel Bryan, the babyface of all babyfaces, to be a heel. And by God, he's trying his damnedest to do it. And he's having a modicum of success. I don't think I personally will ever hate Daniel Bryan. He might be somebody to dethrone Bret Hart at the top of my personal list as my favorite wrestler of all time. The jury's still out on that. Because for me, it was Bret Hart, CM Punk, and then maybe D-Bry. I think D-Bry may have overtaken Punk, and he could be challenging Hart. But I'm not sure. But this was a great fucking promo, basically. That's all I'm trying to say here. Bryan's current run reminds me of Punk's Straight Edge Society run, but with a bigger spotlight. Yes, I agree with you as well. That is kind of how it feels. Again, as somebody who is straight edge, I am straight edge. As somebody who is straight edge, I enjoyed it more when CM Punk was the guy who happens to be straight edge. And he was a babyface about it, and that wasn't who he was all about. But when he had his Straight Edge Society run where it was like a cult, it was funny, it was cool, and it got heat. Okay. Let's see here. I'm sure Austin Aries and Butt Cape are pissed. What was Butt Cape's name? Lath? Abby Lath, yeah. Daniel Bryan has become a must-watch when it comes to promos. Yes, he is. He is. Cool. So yeah, D-Bry did good. All right. Now I want to get to the last thing of the evening. Have to lubricate the vocal cords. Oh, thank you, Hector. That's exactly what I was going to get to. What did you think? What are your thoughts about the Triple Threats women's match? I loved it. Depending on how we're actually counting the matches of the week this week, if we don't count Wrestle Kingdom, I don't know. If we don't count Wrestle Kingdom, this is my match of the week pick. If we are counting Wrestle Kingdom as part of this week, which was something I was hoping I would get to talk to Arnold about today, because, you know, on the dark match, me and Chris said that there was several matches from Wrestle Kingdom that were definitely match of the week worthy, but we couldn't decide on which one was actually the best. And even if we picked our favorite to say it was the best, I don't think any of them should be match of the years. I wanted to still get Arnold's perspective on that. But if we're not counting it, this is my match of the week pick. This women's triple threat match. I had fun. Becky Lynch is straight fire. Carmella did her role in being the person to actually take the pinfall, because I don't think neither Becky nor Charlotte could have pinned one or the other, because that would have taken too much heat off of their feud, or potential feuds in the future, or whatever. Like, it just keep them away from each other. Let that still simmer on the back burner for a little bit. Not saying I want to see more Charlotte versus Becky matches. I really don't, but I can see how in the future that we could get more at some point. But Carmella did what she was supposed to do. And did it fit her being in the match? I don't know. Again, I didn't see the previous 2 weeks, but the promos that they had throughout SmackDown, where it was just a backstage one-on-one, them sitting in a little chair, Carmella made a good point. Like, hey, I beat Asuka, I beat Charlotte, I beat Becky all last year before Becky got a personality. I've had a personality this entire time. I've been beating them this entire time. When they were trying to figure out who they were, I was winning the first ever women's Money in the Bank twice. You know, that was enough to sell me. If the booking the previous 2 weeks were haphazard, so be it. That promo on SmackDown was enough for me to say, yeah, Carmella deserves to be in that match. That promo, for me, was enough to say, you know what? Carmella's not a goofy underdog, bumbling, whoopsies, I'm the champion. Maybe she actually had a decent run. Maybe she can hang with Charlotte and with Becky. So this as a triple threat, I bought. And the match itself was great. Charlotte was good. Becky was good. Carmella was good. I'm glad Becky won. I am definitely looking forward to Becky versus Asuka at the Rumble. I am looking forward to the Rumble match itself. Yeah. And there's a lot of possibilities that can come out of this whole scenario. Does Becky hold on to the title and we're going to keep Becky and Ronda separate? Does Becky lose the title and somehow gets wiggled on over to Raw and challenges Ronda because Charlotte won the Rumble and Charlotte's going to face Asuka in a WrestleMania rematch? I don't know. A lot of weird, interesting things can happen as long as Ronda and Becky are at the top of the women's division or the focal point. I'm happy. So yeah, do you see Becky winning and having her cost Ronda title matches payback? Maybe. Carmella or Robert says kind of weird Carmella being there when she's already number 30. Good point. Good point. Cost Ronda is going to happen, but I can see Charlotte doing it. Okay. Do you see Becky winning? And I just read that one. Okay. Wrestle Kingdom needs to be considered a separate event since we don't put a lot of spotlight on New Japan. Yeah. All right. Cool. You can match of the year by yourself. Thank you, Porsche. Technically, I am the only person to nominate something match of the year, but I'm not nominating this match as a match of the year pick. The triple threat. It was definitely match of the week, not match of the year. So yeah. That being said, I've droned on by myself for quite enough. I think I may have done a little bit better than I thought I was going to do by myself. This was interesting. I went on a little bit longer than I thought I was going to do by myself. Or you can have Becky lose the match, enter the Rumble, and getting tossed over alongside with Charlotte having a double winner. So then you would have Becky and Charlotte versus Ronda? Or Becky and Charlotte versus Asuka? I don't know. Somehow, some way, I want to see Becky versus Ronda. I want to see that happen at some point. Okay. Yes, thank you, Push, for the applause. Thank you. I wasn't saying that to toot my own horn. I was saying because I was amazed. Like, oh, shit, I actually did this. So, yeah, this was fun. This was interesting. Again, maybe this will factor into more decisions as to how we're going to go forward with Houston Wrestling Radio from here on. It's just too much goddamn content. And with a newborn baby on the way for Arnold, he's not going to be as available as much. And with Chris getting burnt out at WWE, he's not going to be wanting to talk about WWE anymore. So I don't know, man. We'll see where we go. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching us late, hey, please let me know what you thought. Until next week, adios, my friends. Keep it classy. Woo! All right. Oh, are those applause also? Porsche says, close the show already. I closed it. Rough audience here. All right. Oh, I should probably turn on my mouse. All right. Stop.